Remember that record that you bought me like 2 years ago? Well, I just remembered that it's sitting in the closet. So I called you up just to tell you I've been meaning to listen to that. I've been meaning to listen to that. Why don't you come over and talk about it? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Why don't you come over and talk about it?
I feel like I don't want to hear Lady Gaga at the drugstore.
You know,
I
like you don't want to hear Love Drug? Like, well,
No, it's too much, you know? Like if I start vibing, I might stick around too long and then get mugged.
just like the owner like comes out with a shotgun or whatever. But hi everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to I've been meaning to listen to that, the podcast where we go through music. We've been meaning to albums we've been meaning to listen to and use that as a conduit to learn about each other and our guests. I'm Andrew Ambrose Lee.
I'm Stenley Philippe.
I'm Dakota Foss.
And yeah, this is so exciting. We got one of the goats of media journalism here. She's a writer for Vulture, for BuzzFeed, and the owner of the eponymous Fran magazine. It's Fran Hoepfner, everybody! Woohoo!
Hi guys.
Ooh.
Thank you for having me back.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like it was such a what a like joy. I think I was like super nervous like the first time we like did an episode together. So I really wanted to like, try it again and just I'm confident now. So yeah, like let's talk about Lady Gaga. Let's talk about Fran, what is your relationship to Lady Gaga? Like what kind of I surmise that you were a big fan. You said you were very obsessed with this album in particular, but what's your history of Lady Gaga?
Day one, I was there. Maybe not day one, but because I was a teenager when Fame and Fame Monster
It
came
wasn't
out,
like a
but
Doogie Howser situation where like you're the teen doctor.
no. Nor was I like in the clubs in Lower Manhattan when she was doing her thing down here. But I was 17 when those albums came out. They hit my senior year of high school and freshman year of college. That's a profoundly formative time in my like pop music experience. And she had such a new and fun sound. I was probably I was not listening to a ton of pop music in high school. I had like grown up with like Britney Spears and Sync Backstreet Boys and then kind of stopped listening to radio music a lot because we didn't play it in the home and I was playing classical music. And so I associate Lady Gaga's music with like getting my driver's license and being able to drive myself to school in my mom's car that she let me use sometimes. And yeah, this double album was one of the first, maybe not one of the first albums I bought because I was like buying CDs when I was 12, but it's something I bought to listen to in the car. And beyond that, I have great affection for Lady Gaga. I think her music is great. I think she's a really good actor. I find the persona and all versions of the persona really fun. And I've just continued to root for her for these past, I don't know, 15 or so years. More, I suppose.
Yeah, and like to my knowledge, like I'm not like as familiar with Lady Gaga, but she just hasn't seemed to like let her core audience down really. Like which is like kind of rare, which is kind of a wonderful thing. Like she kind of did the Anderson Cooper interview where like he was asking her like do you have a penis and like it was like this really like disgusting thing and then like 15 20 years later she's like having a Grammy speech and like advocating for trans rights and like platforming that in an awesome way. It's really incredible stuff. So
I really remember that being, I was reading a lot of celebrity gossip blogs at that time, and I remembered that being such a point of speculation. And my friends in college and I were also reading these blogs, and we were so like, we don't care. That has nothing to do with the Lady Gaga that we like in either direction. Looking back, it's so bizarre that that was such a talking point for like the first 2 years she was famous.
hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and like how do you feel about her like these days? Like what do you feel about her like now?
It's a complicated question. I mean, I love this album. I really like the mode that she's in right now. I sort of felt confused a little bit about the press rollout of this album, just from like that angle of it. I found her approach to promoting it very strange, and I think like the post-album stuff has been a little weird in that I maybe don't totally know like what she is trying to articulate as an image with this it's sort of this persona with like the no eyebrows and the like really blunt bob and all this stuff. She's got dark hair now. It's a character that hasn't like totally clicked for me, but I think the album works regardless of that. Um, yeah. I have more of an answer to this question, but I think we should talk about it later on.
Well, is it like about that you saw her recently at like
I
the
st
YouTube?
I saw her at the YouTube upfronts.
Oh.
Which is part of the mystery of Gaga. I say, here's why is Lady Gaga at the YouTube upfronts? I'm so happy I got to see her. I'd never seen her live before. I don't know if I ever will, and again, anytime soon. It's very expensive to go to concerts. And it was in like an extremely intimate venue at David Geffen Hall at Lincoln Center. There were probably like 300 people there, and I was one of them. It was really crazy. She played 5 songs, but it was like, why was she doing that? Does she need, like, she doesn't have to do that. And then it was announced like 2 days later that she was going to do like the Netflix
I was
kind
just
of
gonna say
upfronts, the like
he
Tudum
did Badum.
Fest.
Yeah, the Tudum. Yeah,
What?
that was the thing that I saw where I was like, I had that same thought, Fran, where I was like, why is Lady Gaga doing Padum? I didn't even know that Tudum was like a thing until this year, but I guess it has been for the last couple. But I think that's Tudum with a B at the end.
Wow.
Like, I'm not
I
Wow.
gonna,
agree.
I,
I
I'm not
agree.
gonna tune into this like Netflix like self-aggrandizing like here's like guess what guys, we're gonna release the next season of Stranger Things in 4 parts, and also we're raising the monthly fee by $2 every 3 months. I don't want to do that.
No, it's terrible. And I also think, the thing I had never done an upfronts before. I went for work. So I went for 2 reasons. One is like we got these emails that were like, okay, there's going to be an appearance by Alex Warren and Lady Gaga. And I said, okay, Alex Warren, that's a guy with the perfect amount of fame to be at the YouTube upfronts. Awesome. Don't like this guy. Hate that song.
Wait,
People
he's
at the
the
YouTube
ordinary
upfronts.
guy, right?
Yeah.
He
Yeah. This was
sucks.
like this was right on the cusp of that song being what it is now. He sucks. He sucks. That song sucks. But people at the YouTube upfronts were like crying when he sang that song. So something is not connecting and culture is disintegrating. He's terrible. But I was like, this makes sense that he's there. But I was like, there's no way in hell Lady Gaga is showing up at this. And then she did. I was like certain she was just going to send a video or something. But the other thing that I learned is that like all these upfronts try to like big dog each other with who the guests are and try to outspend who they can get to show up. And so that she did 2 of them also feels like you guys got played. Like that's not supposed to be what happens. They're only supposed to get one person each time or whatever. It's so strange and so silly, and I just don't understand why she's doing that.
I'm
But I'm
somehow
thrilled that I got
more
to be there.
I'm somehow more insulted for Lady Gaga, not only that she did the YouTube upfronts, but that she shared it with Alex Warren.
Completely.
Her peer. Oh. But like I guess like I don't want to like speculate too much because I don't know anything about these people, but like like Michael is like her, husband, fiance, whatever it is, like is like a, huge venture capitalist person. So maybe that might be a part of it. But the other like joke I was gonna like make was like when she was like introducing like her setting up a song where she like, hey, Mr. Beast is here. I have a song called The Beast. And most of the beasts I know are men. Here's this song.
No, I wish she had done that. She did very
Me
minimal
too.
crowd stuff. Well, it's funny because other people who came out tried to do stuff like that with like Mr. Beast and these YouTube guys, and like a lot of the people at the upfronts, like advertisers and even executives at YouTube, like don't know who these people are. These were like written jokes that were like not getting laughs about
Oh
YouTube
no.
in culture. I mean, I also think like what she said there and what I imagine the Tadum thing is like she owes a lot of her early career to YouTube with music videos. Like that is actually a huge part of her career. And perhaps the case could be made like that the Netflix documentary Lady Gaga 5'2" also kind of a big deal for her career. And maybe there was some emotional obligation to like pay it back in a sense to both these places, but it's very strange to me. It's weirder than like the Nurtec commercial. That makes sense. But
That's
two two
that.
upfronts?
I'm sorry, the Nerd Tech commercial. That's when I hate to say like that's when I get on my Kanye, but like I like some of the Gaga songs. The fuck does she know about migraine medicine?
She
Like
knows she's in such pain. You gotta watch
yeah,
5'2".
mean,
Her body hurts all the time.
I mean, yeah, like I get that, but like that's like another thing where I see Lady Gaga performing like on a piano on the TV, then I see size 2 font at the bottom covering a quarter of the screen, and I'm just like, is nothing sacred, man? Like,
No.
why debase yourself like this, Gaga?
Oh no.
Well, see, as a migraine haver, I'm like, oh, she's my mascot. Like, thank you. Thank you
I
for being a patron.
I have migraines too, like they suck, and I guess I'm glad that I am in a way like Lady Gaga.
You would have something to talk with her about.
I would. So you get migraines, huh?
She'd be
Like
very
if I
empathetic
saw,
if you like talked to her about that. I'm sorry you're going through
Totally.
that. Like it's like
yeah.
by the way, I'm really excited for like Lady Gaga's appearance at the Wild Forks upfronts, like the meat store. Just like, she owes her a lot of her career to that. But like I looked up meat store on Google to like make
For
that
sure.
joke.
You typed in meat store?
Yeah. What about Stenley?
That's
Like
funny.
you weren't on our
What
like
about Stenley?
Lady Gaga like kind of series. What's your relationship to Lady Gaga?
Well, it's changed a bit in the last week or so as I've come to realize that I spent most of last year trying to create this like Taylor versus Beyonce kind of storyline throughout our podcast. And I realized I wasted a lot of time because it never really was Taylor versus Beyonce. It's been Lady Gaga versus Beyonce the whole time. And I think this conversation we just had really added to this kind of epiphany I've had because both artists are so talented and they're both in essence like sellouts. Like they're both very happy to sell themselves for the highest bidder in order to maximize whatever spotlight they're capturing in this moment without compromising their art. And I think that's been the one thing with Gaga. Like, yeah, what the fuck does she know about cameras? I don't know, but she knows a lot about making music and about capturing moments and about, creating almost like a snapshot of, what the sound is like at that time. I don't know if she's a futurist when it comes to music, but she definitely is someone that can say like, hey, like I'm going here, so let's all go here together. And this album, I think, really she did it. Like she did it. Like she found that secret sauce that allows her to say like, hey, like Chapel, I see you, Charlie, I see you. But
Like
you see
Avatar
me.
2. Like
Yes. 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 But I guarantee you're gonna see me. And I think that they're all seeing her right now too. So she's a go. After this album, I think she's a go. When it comes to like hip hop, I was talking in one of our recent episodes that I think hip hop has like a 5 album run where
I was
an
gonna
artist
say that.
has
I was
their
gonna like bring that up too. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, their first 5 albums. But for me, for pop music, it's the opposite. Pop music, it's a last album run. It's like, how good was your last album? If you're a pop artist, it doesn't really matter what you did 2, 3, 4 albums ago if your last project sucked. And for her, like, this project does not suck. So for me, she's the current queen of pop. That's my claim.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, let's talk about Mayhem. Let's talk about this album. Like I want to like kind of get into like what because like Fran, you're like, what is this even about? Like what is she trying to say? What's like being communicated here? My take is just like my like one of my big takes is like the student has become the master is like kind of like the theme here of she's described herself in many instances as a student. Like she is a classically trained like pianist and singer, vocalist. During the Fame Monster era, she was like kind of marketing herself as a student of fame itself and the arts of being famous. Like she studied like Judy Garland, Marilyn Monroe, like Princess Di, like the pitfalls of that. She like studies how to be famous, like, you know, when to like shut the fuck up, when to just focus on the art, but also have like a slow drip of herself, like through, like she never really was gone for that long. Like she always had a movie, she always had a TV show, she always had a thing, even if she wasn't like releasing albums. Um, you know, like she's media trained, yet her art isn't toothless or sterile. You know, it's like there's that. There's like you know, she's a student of like fashion, like performance art. You know, just like getting all these fashion houses together. She's a student of arts, musicians like you know, Madonna, Britney Spears, Jay-Z, Nine Inch Nails, Liza Minnelli, Tony Bennett, Michael Jackson, Prince, David Byrne, David Bowie, just all like synthesized. Like she said in like I think the Zane Lowe interview that every artist she like influence she pulled from for this album she was a fan of for at least 10 years. So she's no like poser. She's not like, hey, I watched Stop Making Sense, I'm gonna like do that. You know, she just like she's been a fan for that long, and she has the skill set to replicate and execute and synthesize these works into something new, but she also understands why it works. And then she's a student in terms of like her collaborators. She leaps at the opportunity to collaborate with someone. She leaps at the any opportunity to collaborate with someone like Gustafsson, Mark Ronson, Beyonce, Florence and the Machine, Beck. And then she applies the same idea to acting. Like people describe her as method, but I would just say like she's a great student. Like she's an A+ student of like she did Joker 2 to work with Joaquin. Like that's an opportunity to like work with him, and then Ridley Scott or something like that. Just like applying, but also applying the skills used as a musician to synthesize into her acting. And then finally, she's a student of herself in terms of like she not only kind of understands her past discography, like what made them work, what makes them special, what it means to people, but also she's a student of like herself. Like she uses the arts and the performance art to sort of like understand herself and introspect and reflect and like kind of paints a self portrait. Like every album is kind of the same. Every album is trying to like kind of get at something. And then she's also very observant of her toxic pattern. She's very observant of like why she does things and such. And I think it's just like very, so it's her like this album is like her showing off. Like I've mastered my art. I've mastered pop by being a great student. And then it's like, um, you know, in contrast to like kind of like people who just like make music through like AI and like kind of shortcut the actual like learning it takes to like be great. And like she's like very, yeah, I don't know. I just find this very refreshing. I find that's my general thought on this album. Like it's not, I don't really know if it's about too much, but that's my like meta reading of like what she's about here.
Yeah, I know. I think it's bang on. I think that the whole like student thing, I think it makes a lot of sense. And when it comes to, you know, sometimes when artists are like, okay, you know, I'm gonna open up and be really personal, they somewhat reveal everything, right? It's like, okay, well, here I'm opening my whole life to all my fans so they can know the real me. And Gaga, I think, does a good job of opening up without like revealing everything. Like there's still like some magic that's left even after listening to this album. Like you're still left wondering like, okay, well, what is your relationship with your fiance? Like how much do you really love him, or does he love you, or what's the influence like there's still some questions that are left to be answered. And I think that is her knowing how to tease her audience too, like a great performer does. And so yeah, I think she's definitely, like you said, like she's studied the craft. And I think she studied other people as they perfected the craft as well. And that's why I was alluding to like a Chapel or a Charlie. I think she's been watching like these last, you know, 5, 6 years since her last kind of album. Like she's been watching and seeing like, hey, like these young artists are finding a way to speak to issues that matter to them. which, you know, she was one of the, I guess, the first real pop stars to do that on a grand stage and kind of, you know, affiliate herself with the cause and say like, I'm standing here, you know, and now a lot more artists are doing that, which is really great. And for her to then call it back, you know, with her Grammy speech and still stand there and say like, listen, I'm going to speak about trans rights because it needs to be spoken about like right now in 2025, and not say like, you know, there are other folks that can do it, so I'll just step back and say like, hey, Bruno and I make great music. I think it's her again still wanting to be part of that kind of that leadership role. Like she's a leader, she's a student, but she's a leader too, and I think that's a really cool thing.
I definitely get the leader aspect on this album. My take on this album is like I guess I'm trying to like synthesize like what my thoughts are on it. Like I like the album. Like don't get it twisted here. This album to me feels like she's like almost taking on like you two were saying, really like sort of like a pop mentor role, but like to no one in particular. Uh, and actually, a lot of this album, to Fran's point about not really understanding the character of this album, I did not really pay attention to the roll out of this album other than the singles. This was maybe the least hype that I've ever been for a Gaga album. And to me, it feels like it was accidentally great. Like, like I don't get really again, I like the album. I don't really get any grand message from this album whatsoever, other than the fact that like this, like the mentorship angle to me feels like she is taking stock of what she's accomplished and what she's capable of and where she's at in her life, and finding a way to channel that into good music. Other than Blade of Grass, though, I don't really think this album touches on like anything in her life that I could easily make an analog to. There's just a lot of it that's really confusing, like the black and white album cover, Die with a Smile being tacked on. Like we know for a fact that that was purely tacked on because it popped off. But rolling out with Disease, which is Disease is like a fine song, but that was one of the most baffling decisions upon hearing the entire album, of leading off with that song. I thought it was just like a mid-tempo kind of like plotter, you know? Like it's fine, it's good. I like the tremolo picking on the guitar that comes in, but like, why would you do that? Why would you lead with that song when Abracadabra's right there? You know, even like I don't know, something like Perfect Celebrity is like more exciting. Like yeah, just this album to me is good. It's great. I love this album. I wouldn't put it as my album of the year, but it is a very strong album. And it is just really hard for me to retrace the steps of that because, you know, as Andrew and I talked on a previous episode here, like I'm a massive Gaga fan who like has pretty much, ironically, since excluding Joker 2's Harlequin album, she's like pretty much consistently let me down for like a decade, in my opinion. That's not to say that she's released like outright bad music.
Processing this news here.
I have a complicated
I have a lot to say.
Yeah.
No. Keep going. Keep going. Well, I think it's very clear to me why Disease was the first single. And you sort of got very close to it, which is that you said outside of Blade of Grass, there's nothing personal on this album. Disease was co-written by Michael. Yeah. She put it out for Michael. That's honestly what I think it is like she wrote the song with her fiance and is like, that's what's going out first because she loves him so much. That's like the only reason I can really see. But I agree with you that song is like very middle of the pack.
Yeah. And like, to me, like the stuff that you were saying about her like character stuff, like, all that stuff was super fun and interesting for me for the first couple albums that she did. And I actually wanted her to do kind of more of that. Like I was saying on the previous episode that Andrew and I did, I was not a big fan of her trying to be like this, you know, capital S, capital A, serious artist with like the Tony Bennett's and the A Star Is Born stuff. Like she does that stuff fine, but it felt like she was convincing me of something that I already knew. Um, and so like I kind of was glad that she seemed to be doing that again with this album with like the plague doctor like thing that she had going on in the disease video and the I don't know how much she's been playing around with this like Bob blonde character. Like I saw her Coachella set and that was sick. But it's just strange because like the post release stuff on here, it feels like she didn't realize like that this album would kind of hit the way that it did. Like I know that she's not like topping the charts the way that she was back in the day, but like this really feels like a pretty definitive reintroduction of Gaga that's been cementing her legacy as like someone who like is amazing. She's getting all these flowers, but she's not necessarily like a like total legacy artist, People are bumping uh why can't I think of the song?
Born This Way? I don't know.
No, people are bumping like some of the songs from this album, and like they seem to be making waves in like the online music scene, even if she's not topping the charts, not chopping the tarts. Maybe she's doing that too. But this is a whole lot of gobbledygook because in a way I feel like this album is gobbledygook that happened to be great. Does anyone else feel that way?
I think it's scattered is
Yes.
sort of where I would, and she sort of has admitted to as much because she was like, oh, maybe I just want to do this like grunge pop thing and like scrap everything that's not that. And then Michael apparently was like, babe, no, you made so many good songs. And so like what we get is like it does feel a little Chromatica Part 2 to me. But I have a sort of I have a weird relationship to Chromatica, which
I do too.
which it's I think this is a hard album to think about without Chromatica. And I was re-listening to Chromatica ahead of coming here, but that album to me is like so like it got like ethered by the pandemic. I listened to it when it came out. I was running a lot that summer. I was running to Chromatica several days a week. But in the abstract, I don't think about Chromatica ever. But it's not a bad album. It
okay,
just sort
Don
of,
Draper. Like,
it just sort of it like vanished in a way that I feel like Mayhem is almost being like, yeah, I do this. I'm good at this. And my last album was good at this too.
Well, yeah, there is like a weird push and pull because to me it felt like Chromatica was like a 7 out of 10 album that had like a ton of effort put into it, like that was kind of being teased as the reintroduction of Gaga after Joanne and A Star Is Born and all the stuff that I didn't like. And like, I like Chromatica, but I didn't love Chromatica. And this almost feels like the opposite of Chromatica, where like I would give this album, and I did in a review, I gave it an 8 out of 10. And this feels like an 8 out of 10 that is really timid. Like it feels like it doesn't have the same sort of bombast as Chromatica's rollout, where it's like, here's the stupid love thing. We're doing this weird arm movement that's gonna sweep the nation. And of course, instead we got the coronavirus. Like that just felt like it had this huge world building aspect to it, to where like this one, it's like, saying the industrial rock thing, like that would make a lot more sense, and like I can see the vision of a version of that album where it is black and white and takes more from like Nine Inch Nails, and yeah, it's Disease and it's Perfect Celebrity and it's The Beast, but there's just no through line here. It's just like you're given it looks, if I were trying to connect the dots, it would look like a 3-year-old with a crayon on the wall, just scribbling everywhere.
The album I think of that this is in relation to, or that I've like paired it with in my head, is another album of which I have become a stalwart defender, that I also think starts shaky, gets really good, and then sort of completely peters out by the end, and that's Lover by Taylor Swift.
Ooh, interesting.
Which is also an album about like having a boyfriend you're obsessed with, to the point of making music of varying quality because you love your boyfriend so much. And I see a lot of that in this, outside of the ones that are just like about how being famous is crazy. But I think it's very much a like, for Michael, type of album, in a way that maybe clouds a kind of coherency. The other thing I want to say is like, I think in this year, and I think for the next year or so from now, we're gonna get so many pop albums and pop adjacent work where the notion of Brat fucked up those albums, where they were like, oh no, like Brat kind of changed the game and now I have to like futz with what my deal is or what my sound is. And if nothing else, like that didn't happen to Lady Gaga. Brat did not influence this album. There's no relationship between them.
Goodness.
And yes, I completely agree. This doesn't read like a self-conscious album, which is always my biggest fear for her, because I think she is a self-conscious artist, but this feels very confidently Gaga.
Yeah, like the music itself feels confidently Gaga. That's just why like the everything surrounding the album is just so like confusing to me, because it just feels like she's worried about like the album not hitting the way that she wanted to again, and this ended up hitting more. I don't know.
I was like, because when this album came out, I was like, oh, I guess it came and went. But then I saw the beach performance where like 1 or 2 million people showed up. I was like, Jesus Christ, like that's wild. Like that, I guess
people are they're gonna show up for Gaga like no matter what, because she has this incredible legacy. And like, I remember the day that this came out, like the weekend it came out, there was like some discourse online, like
I love discourse. I'm rubbing my hands together.
Yeah, like I'm terminally online, so I remember like the Pop Heads release thread, like, and the Pitchfork review, and everybody was like, "Oh, Lady Gaga is reheating nachos," and like Pitchfork's review had this line where it was like, "Well, if Lady like." Just the worst discourse, like ping-ponging back and forth like in 24 hours. Pitchfork's review was like, well, if Lady Gaga's reheating nachos, then she's teaching a 5-course meal on how to reheat It's like, shut up. Like that's way too hard here. Like there was like a little bit of like Lady Gaga's not doing anything like new or interesting enough, and like I wouldn't call this like a greatest hits by any means, because I do think like that again, that industrial rock DNA is the closest thing to a through line here. Like all the aforementioned songs and like Garden of Eden, and like it's got like so much swagger, and yeah, like it really feels like she was clear-headed and confident with it. Where was that in the marketing?
Well, I want to like.
She did so much marketing also. Like, I don't know. I can't speak for my workplace. I don't think we went out to her, but she talked to Billboard. She talked to whoever. Like, it seemed like everyone who asked her for an interview for this album got one, which is great for journalism, but like sort of like, where's the exclusivity? Where's the sort of like, there should be like an untouchable quality.
She did to them.
She did to them. She did the upfronts. Like, it seems like every bit of promo she could have done for this, she did in a way that I almost felt at the time was like cheapening the work. And we can get to it, but like, I like this album from the jump listening through it, but what like locked it in place was the SNL performances, where I was like,
Yes.
got it. I understand what this is, but we can get there.
Well, before we get into that, I want to like kind of like come like try to piece together a through line if there's any. Like I was like surprised by you guys saying I don't think there's a through line. I think it's like I think it's interesting to view it as like a dream. Like, you know, Stenley, you said like Brat, you could read it as like one night at the club. Like, just like one night and the emotional ebbs and flows of just like, you know, I'm having so much fun. I hate myself. I love my girls. Like kind of like that idea. And then like this album is like she falls asleep next to Michael and then she has this like dream where she's like she like has to like keep dancing otherwise she'll like die of a disease, and then there's like an airborne disease where like you know like there's airborne disease where like that could turn you into a zombie. Like she's like dealing with that. She's in a club. This is like there's like a claustrophobic kind of idea here, and then like she kind of like in the middle of the album becomes a little lucid of like I kind of don't like this. I want to get out, but like I'm battling my subconscious a bit. And then like they're like little moments of just like, oh yeah, in the real world, I'm with Michael. And like she kind of gets like little like in an Inception where she gets like little like echoes here and there of like in the real world, I'm with like with my husband. And then like it's the blade of grass memory that like kind of wakes her up out of this dream. And then the you know Bruno Mars song is like I woke up from a dream, and it's like but is this the dream, like ugh. Like it's kind of like this whole like that's like my kind of crackpot idea. Like it's kind of supported by this idea that Lady Gaga said that like being with Michael kind of opened my songwriting up in a new way. It allowed me to like kind of revisit this type of songwriting again, like go into pop again in this way, and like this the confidence you were talking about, Fran, of just like this assuredness going on. I think there was a lot of like tortured qualities to like a lot of her past albums, like Joan and you know Fame Monster and all these albums. Are kind of, there's a lot of like tortured this feels very like free and happy, even though she's like kind of like battling her, but she's able to like freely battle her subconscious without it being like weighing her down and this like I'm in danger kind of feeling to it. So that's what I think.
Yeah, but
I agree
like
with the dream thing. I just think that it's Michael's dreams that she's like
Oh.
inceptioning the shit out of it. And like there's all this POV action happening, and she's literally like talking to Michael in Michael's dream in a lot of these songs. And then I think the Bruno Mars track, like it's literally Michael waking up and being like, I had just had this dream where it felt like you and I were done, and I realized like life without you is like,
Ooh, I
but
like
it's
that
almost like
better.
she's
Yeah.
then also telling that to Michael in that same space, like when in bed. So I think that dream sequencing kind of reads really well with this. And I think that's why it sounds a bit like disjointed, is because she's a bit like foggy in love, you know, and when you're in that place where you're just like so in love, like you almost like forget that there could be a almost like a linearness to your album. I listened to one of her interviews, and she was talking about how she had like a gazillion different, track listings for this album, because she just couldn't like decide or figure out or really care to think about it in a more intentional way. And so it just kind of came out, it came out. And I like, I mean, I love this album. I think hearing you two, like Dakota and Fran, talk about this, like I really didn't care about the rollout for it because I'm not a little monster like that. So I just was just like, okay, I'm gonna listen to this album for this recording, and listening to it more and more and more, it's grown so much on me because she's so good. Like she's so good. And where she may be a bit confused about how to package this to her audience in a way that does feel authentic or exclusive or purposeful or not like, you know, clown like. I do think that when you just think about the music is fire. Like it's So good.
It's so good. And to your point though, like when I look at this and when I hear that she had like a million different track lists for this, like I just think that kind of speaks to like the interchangeable, like there's nothing grand that she's trying to say. I love you, Andrew. I love the attempt at the explanation of the dream. That to me just sounded crazy. Like, oh, the through line is that there was a disease and she goes to a club and it's crazy and it's claustrophobic, and then she gets out, she wakes up and then sings with her husband and like they love each other. Like, I don't know. To me, no, like I love you. I respect you. Like is that a through line though? Like saying that there's a dream and there's no logic and there's layer after layer.
I don't know.
Like I don't know. But these songs are all great. I love Killa. I love Vanish Into You. I love How Bad Do You Want Me is the best song that Taylor Swift ever wrote. Like
no, stop. Stop perpetuating the myth.
Yes,
no,
yes.
It's not a Taylor song. It's like it's pop. It's Ally. It's Ally Main. It's Star Is Born Gaga.
Maybe.
Yes.
Sure. Like I won't die on that hill. All I'm saying is like this stuff is great, and like you could put this in nearly any order and it would work kind of just the same. I agree with. I could swap things until I'm blue in the face and like maybe get a little bit more of a narrative going, but like I just don't think that's the point of this album. I think that this is just like pop bliss for 14 songs, and I can appreciate that on that level. I love that back in the day, Gaga had the Fame Monster. As we talked to Andrew, she had the Fame Monster. She had Born This Way. She even had Art Pop where she was trying to tell a story. Chromatica, even to an extent, that was sequenced with the Chromatica stuff and kind of built to this Dance Planet storyline.
Cool.
But that's not what this album is. This album is like just a great pop record, like the greats used to do. Pop albums did not always have to be this like sweeping thing where it's telling like a story, and I think that's okay. Do I think that this venture capitalist is a zombie boy? No. I don't.
That song is
his
so
dreams, he is.
fun. It's
great.
So good.
I wrote like, is this the greatest album of all time? Listening to that song, like it's just, it's. I guess like, I don't think it's like a narrative. I just think it's like kind of like non-linear and kind of like the way a dream is non-linear and kind of like confusing and foggy. Like there's like a Lynch. I hate that. Like I hate that. I almost
Lynchian?
said that.
Were you gonna call this Lynchian?
No,
Not
but like
Lynchian.
no, I just mean it in like kind of like the nonsensical like lyricism and stuff. Like not literally like that. Because I stopped myself. I didn't say it. I stopped myself. But like it's like
Right. I said it.
Yeah. I incepted that in your head though. Like let's talk about songs. Enough of this.
Wait, can I just say one quick thing, because Dakota, you nailed it. Pop music at its core isn't about like the theme or the storyline it's just about really good music that we know the majority of people who listen to it are going to say, yeah, this is really good music, and then like flush it down the toilet the next day and then be like, oh shit, it's like the Chipotle effect, right? It's like, 1 out of 5 times it may make me sick, but you know what, I'm gonna go back to it because those other 4 times it just hits the spot. And I think this album hits the spot 4 out of 5 times. Usually to flush that one time out of your system, which you're doing right now, which is good. But then you're gonna realize, like, okay, shit, like Perfect Celebrity, yes.
Okay,
Love Job,
shit.
cool. Don't Call Tonight, fire.
Isn't it also like freeing a bit though that this album like is utterly bereft of meaning? Like I'm just so I like in the same way that we said that Charlie X's Brat like is probably going to ruin like the next year or two of pop music. And I did set my VPN to New Zealand, so I can confirm that's the case with Lord's album. But
I have heard the Lord too, and I completely agree. I think like that's the big example, but that is a completely brat poisoned album.
Oh
yes,
no.
but like
I like it, but but I wish Brat had not come out for the sake of this album.
Yeah, yes. But in the same way that Brat is set to ruin like the next couple of years of the next year or two of pop music, like Taylor Swift, I will pile on her again. Like this entire notion that there needs to be lore and Easter eggs and world building and this like massive musical cinematic universe, like that's cool. That's great. That's like the meta. That's how you get people engaged, like into, the, all the merchandising, and you get them hooked. Like it's the attention economy, and you need to keep people's attention. This is so nice that like I don't have to be clued into any of that. I can just turn this on and be like,
I could be a boy, be a zombie boy. Yeah, you can do that.
Zombie boy. I'm not gonna buy that this venture capitalist is a zombie boy. Like, how bad do you want
the
me?
Michael slander?
Like, I don't know.
He loves her so much, and you keep calling him. You keep slander.
He gave her a blade of grass to wear.
He's a venture capitalist. He can afford at least 2 blades of grass. He gave her a blade of grass. Come on.
I think
this is great.
To that point, like what also really works about this, like I actually do think the pageantry and the lore is part of Gaga. It's inherent to Gaga. It's like she came out the gate doing the characters, doing the like performance art stuff. I think I totally I think this is more devoid of that than it usually is. And part of what makes this album so good to me is like I think the Disease video is fine. I quite like the Abracadabra video.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need those videos to like this album. She's been a huge video artist, but I can listen to this album with no visuals and be like, awesome, great. The music is good. The production is good.
Yeah, and the Easter eggs are like musical Easter eggs. They're just like, that sounds like Bowie. That sounds like, blah, blah, blah. Just like, that's sick. It's so good.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, to your point, Fran, like, Andrew and I talked about this on the Fame Monster, but
really plugging that episode that we did.
We're plugging the pod on the pod. We're building the lore for this pod.
Yeah,
I'm just taking
notes. Michael's dream right now. Wow, this is good.
But Gaga really did help with those first couple albums. She helped usher in like kind of pre-poptimism, where it's like, you guys know that pop music can like be about bigger stuff or like be a little more ambitious, like because the pop music of the 2000s was just like haphazard, get the radio singles and then tag it in with filler. And this feels more in that vein in terms of like not really stretching and reaching for these grand ideas or like a big narrative that's like super deep or whatever. This is just like, I'm one of the best pop songwriters of all time. Like this is just kind of what I want to do right now. And that's great. Like I love it. This is probably, this might be my like third or second favorite Gaga album.
Oh, we gotta get to that at the end. Like we gotta talk about that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we could save it.
Yeah, but let's talk about some songs. Let's talk about some highlight songs. Fran, what's a highlight song from this album that you are loving?
On my first on phase 1 of my obsession with this album, it was Vanish Into You and How Bad Do You Want Me. That answer has changed now that I've listened to it so many times, but immediately those were the ones that stood out. I think Vanish Into You is just a great, like, romantic Gaga song, of which she doesn't have a ton, and I think it's the best of the ones on this album. I think it's way better than Blade of Grass, which might be the worst song on this album. Sorry, Michael.
Whoa! You know,
No, it's not worse than Die with a
She
Smile. Die
loves
with a
her.
Smile is really bad.
I always
Um,
think the outro to Blade of Grass is on Vanish Into You when she does that like ba-da-ba-ba-ba. You know that like long note.
I don't
I
remember
wish it was because
that.
Vanish Into You is way better. I agree with you on that.
Oh, I love it.
but these days I'm obsessed with like Don't Call Tonight and Zombie Boy.
Oof.
Yes, and yes. Those are the two right answers. Well done, Fran. All right, wrap it up, Andrew.
You could follow the show at Blank Check Pod. It's like
It's just Don't Call Tonight. It's just a perfect. I wrote down. I thought it was my favorite vocal performance on the album upon my like 20th listen. Not her best, not her like most impressive, but I just really love how she sung don't call it night. And like she like there's a part where the Daft Punk auto tune kind of kicks in, and then like the bridge is a bit like stripped off, and then she just kind of shows you like, hey, like I don't have to be like massive for you to respect the vocals. You know, it's like somebody going to like a gunfight and not having to have like the biggest gun, but everybody knows like this person can shoot really well. I don't know if this is working or not, but I'm gonna stick with it. And so she's just showing her little like pistol, and everyone's just like, yeah, that pistol packs a mean punch. So you better not fuck with her. And I think this song for me vocally, it's that. It's like that, like, don't fuck with Gaga, this Gaga, because then you get like the abracadabra Gaga come out of nowhere and really fuck you up. You know, like, and I love how this sounds. Again, like there's a clapping part to the song as well that I find is very catchy in my living room. It's catchy in my car. You know, like Spatial's car test. Like this song, like passed the car. I was driving to Costco today, not Osco, but Costco, and I was playing this song with my windows down. I was waiting for someone to look at me to be like, "Yo, why is this like random dude listening to Gaga full blast?" But I was like so proud of like listening to this song on full blast because it's so good. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Do you hear it as in conversation with Alejandro? That's the thing I've read a lot about this song that
Yes,
Oh,
which
Fran,
I see and I don't see.
my
I don't
first note
know.
was Alejandro. Like it's literally don't call him a name, Alejandro. Like it kind of works, you know. Yes, I do see that.
I read Cadabra as the Alejandro sort of a sequel to Bad Romance and Alejandro that like a Lego sequel almost like kind of just like take like we got the same director back to like do it again, but like he's gotten more experience as a director. They got more experience as a director. Um, yeah, I think that way I feel that way about how you feel, Stanley, about Killa. Like that is just like a unreal. Obviously, I think the SNL performance really unlocked it. Like just fucking unreal,
Yes.
brilliant. Like
totally.
the Prince, David Bowie, Talking Heads, Nine Inch Nails, like hybrid, like the drums, the I'ma be a full time bedroom demon, like the way she harmonizes in that second part, like it's just. It's also a song about like how Michael is a zombie, so like that's canonical and true. Like
Don't buy it.
yeah, I read the that's fine. That's just it's a lot of these songs. I'm just like, oh, remember that part and that part. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. Um. Dakota, what's a highlight for you though? Like, what's calling your name?
I think like pretty much the whole album is like on a pretty even playing field. Like I think, gun to my head, I think that Blade of Grass is a little weaker, for sure. Kind of the same with Disease too. Like it really wasn't until like you got to have a nice pair of headphones, I think, for that like to really sink in how good the production is. But like as good as the production is, like that doesn't really help give the song like it doesn't make it more exciting, I guess. Like it's still just kind of like boom, boom, boom. But for favorites, like I think I would probably give it to Perfect Celebrity would be one of them. That was the one where I was like, oh, okay, we're like she's cooking. She's cooking those reheated nachos, you know? Uh, but Perfect Celebrity and um, How Bad Do You Want Me? I really like How Bad Do You Want Me? Like that is Lover era Taylor Swift better, maybe.
Oof. Huh.
The thing I'll say about Perfect Celebrity, I like that song a lot. It's always been kind of like middle of the pack dish for me with this album, but that was one of the ones she did at YouTube upfronts, and seeing that live, I was like, got it. And I think she slowed it down a little bit, which I think gave it a slightly more menacing quality,
Yeah.
but it all kind of just like clicked into place a little more how resentful that song is.
Yeah, like that to me, Perfect Celebrity is like her revisiting like all of the early themes of her music, you know, the very subtly named The Fame Monster. Like, you know, like her the early parts of her career were really wrestling with fame and everything, and this feels like, you know, yeah, I'm 20 years into my career now and that hasn't really changed that much, but like I think it's like a loving nod to that while also sounding like the most like Metallica, you know, uh maybe like ever. Maybe I'm like misplacing a song, but like she has like shouted out her love of like, you know, the thrash metal and stuff like that. And she doesn't really get to express it that much, and so like that kind of arena rock noise is just like it's a welcome little angle for her, I think. And I really like How Bad Do You Want Me? It's a simple song. I'm not gonna act like it's the most innovative thing here, but that to me felt like the most like, you know, I can do what you do.
Mm.
Yes,
For me,
it's exactly it.
that
And it's like, oh, so go ahead, Fran.
Oh, I was gonna say that's the kind of song where, depending on the mood that I'm in, I'm either like, okay, yeah, this is a bop, or I'm like a little moved by it. I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa, this
How
this
bad
one
do
is
you want me?
so sad. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like I mean it's like
Active versus Walgreens listening, you know, like
yeah. Yeah, but I totally agree. And that I think, you know, with you saying her that she slowed down Perfect Celebrity at the YouTube upfronts, like I could see her doing that with any of the songs here. Like changing them around, speeding it up, slowing it down, acoustic, piano only, and like I could see them working because she is an amazing songwriter and the core of each of these songs is that good that she can do that, and that's what happens, you know, when you don't need these gimmicks to be um to to be impactful. And yeah, like How Bad Do You Want Me totally has layers to it, you know? It sounds like a breezy summer bop, and it is, but like, you know, if you sit down and read that, you're like, dang, that's deep. I mean, not deep, but like that's moving, you know? Like I
it
don't
gets
know.
at
It's
something. It gets at something like primal, like a primal fear of hers, you know, just like which is like really, you know, that like she sounds like a kid, you know, when she's like singing these lyrics. But like I think it's like something that's like subconsciously stuck with her even in this happy relationship. Like, but it's also the confidence of like, yeah, he's super into me. Yeah, I got his grass ring wrapped around my finger. You know, God, that idea.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
hate to sound like a Swiftie, but that bridge, like the first time that bridge like
Oh,
came in, I was like, oh,
the bridges
that's
are
it.
so good they could be an architectural digest. Like that's what a Taylor Swift
They
fan sounds
could.
like.
She does have really good bridges in this album. Maybe that's how sort of Taylor fucked up the game, is everyone suddenly had to have really good bridges. And
It's
I'm not going to complain
That's like
about
yeah,
that.
yeah.
yeah, the lore and the bridges,
Hmm.
bridging
yeah, and
connections, bridging parts of a song.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Way to build on that. I think the Taylor part is really important because it's clearly a Taylor Swift song. And I think I'll just speak for me. I always had like Gaga in one pop lane and Taylor in a completely different pop lane. And for me, it was like Gaga was more of the artistic, like, avant-garde pop, and Taylor was more of the like, hey, it's manufactured pop. And this song for me is Gaga almost welcoming Taylor into the art lane and kind of saying like, hey, like Taylor, I respect you so much that I'm going to do a song that is a you song on this album where I'm returning to my pop roots in order to celebrate what you've done in pop music over the last 10, 12 years as I've been kind of chilling and do my art thing and my movie thing and my my stripped down guitar thing. Like I'm gonna let you like not ruin, rule pop. And now here is me kind of saying, as I come back into pop, you are this shit, and let me do something that kind of feels like you. To the point where I did the rap thing that you do on tracks. Like this is like a prototypical Taylor track, and it's so good because of it. For me, it's more like a 1989 track type of Taylor. That's my favorite Taylor era, and it feels so good because it's that on this album.
Do you know
Any
the like Taylor story that Gaga tells on Stern
no.
of their like very minimal connection? They like kind of don't really know each other, which I think is sort
I
of
was
funny
gonna
given.
ask, like,
So when I had to write about this song and sort of the Taylor of it all, and I have to say there's basically no photos of Gaga and Taylor together except for at the AMAs in 2013 with Art Pop, where who is sitting between them but R. Kelly. So we could not use those photos for very obvious reasons.
That is not
Um,
real. That's not
Why?
real.
Why? What
no,
happened?
it's completely real.
Explain that.
Yes, it's crazy. But the story that Gaga tells on Stern is that when she met Taylor at the AMAs, Taylor was like, "Oh my God, I love art pop. I listen to art pop all the time. I love art pop." And Gaga was like, "Okay, thank you." And that and then like several months later, she had some friend who was doing like hair or makeup on a Taylor shoot, and like texted her and called her and was like, "Oh my God, Taylor Swift is here and she's playing art pop so loud." And so Gaga's always just like, I like that. Like she told me she liked my album and she actually did seem to like my album. So like I have nothing against her.
Wow.
When I had to write about this, I don't totally think this is Taylor-ish, but I understand the sort of connective tissue, but one of the things I was trying to come up with is like what kind of Gaga song should Taylor do? Like what would the vice versa, like what's the best possible option?
did
Or
did
like
you
the
have like
funniest
a
tight. I said 911 off
okay,
Chromatica
yeah,
would be a
yeah.
funny type of Taylor song, which that you would absolutely, absolutely never do.
I kind of feel like it would be like it would have to be a million reasons, right?
Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, like speechless? No.
No,
No, no.
don't you put that evil on
Just
me.
kidding. Just kidding around. Well,
Oh.
any real quickly, any like other like highlights of this album? Like you just want to like stick a flag in.
We kind of brushed through like Zombie Boy. Do you want to elaborate more on why this song is so good? Because it is.
It's just so funny. It's so unself-conscious in a way that I've always loved about Gaga's music. Like she's completely willing to like look silly and she makes it very cool. It's like her like classic like theater kid kind of energy. And I love that there's like no irony to the song. Like it's just so silly and so fun.
Mm.
She does like that is a great point. That's sort of like silliness, but not like she's winking, I guess, a little bit, like, but it's so expertly done that it doesn't feel cheap, you know?
Mm.
And that same sort of silliness, like with the abracadabra, I think
Yeah.
abracadabra,
No.
actually abracadabra, the song, now that I think about it, is silly as hell. Like the music video for it is great. Like that, like latex red witch get up, like where she, like that one shot in the music video where she's like, oh, like with her giant hat. Like,
watch the video on YouTube.
Yeah,
you gotta watch YouTube just for that. You gotta watch YouTube.
Please don't. But like that shot is hilarious. But that song is so just unbelievably silly. The lyrics to it, when she's like the sinful melody and she's just like wailing like through that and like, cast your spell out into the night and it's abracadabra and just like the
abracadabra, na na na.
Like, it's so good. There's just so many bits of like silliness and camp without it like feeling like this, overly cheap and, wink, wink, nudge, nudge sort of deal. It's just like that's the kind of thing that you can really only do when you are so confident in yourself and your art and you know who you are and you kind of have the goods to back it up. Not a lot of people can do that.
Yeah, just like again, like I think just another big highlight is just the vocals on not just like obviously when she's showing off. Like I think she sounds pristine and excellent on every song. Like even songs I like less, I'm like, yeah, you can't deny that performance. But just like the knowing when to like be quieter, when to like kind of like go up, like feel the beat under your feet, the floor's on fire. It's just so good. It's like masterclass in building and releasing tension.
Yeah, she's so good at like layering vocals. And on Abracadabra, I like how she in a song she poses a question of death or love, but then in the video it's dance or die. And I like the idea she's equating like love to her real passion, which is expression. And so I thought that was a kind of cool like little bit. And then just quickly back to Zombie Boy. The outro of Zombie Boy for me is like maybe my favorite musical moment of the whole album. And it's this like synth like
because it sounds like
thing
Mike Dean. Like
yeah, yes, it does, and I love it because it's that, and it's just so cool. Like it's just a cool um track. That's what I wanted to
good
say.
analysis.
But I have no good analysis because I'm just happy. Like this album, like a lot of the albums are doing it's just like, oh, like I'm just talking about like what does this mean and da, da, da. And this is for me is just like, I mean, Dakota, you mentioned earlier, it's very freeing because there's no real purpose to it. I'm just like literally in my living room dancing to this thing with my dog. Like that's how this album feels to me, and that's why I feel like it's the best album because it doesn't need to carry the weight that, and there's just so much weight in the world that this is like without however like miss rollout or whatever. It's just a fun hour of music, and I think that was the real point of it all. Is like, hey, I'm gonna get you guys into this dream sequence where you're not concerned about your real life issues. You're only concerned about impressing Michael. And by the end of this album, you will impress Michael and you wake up in bed with them. So that's what I got from this album.
Any lowlights? Let's talk about lowlight songs. Like Fran,
Michael's a lowlight. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say
Blade of Grass and Die with a Smile. Skip, start album over. I'm sorry. The Beast I initially would have said too, but the Beast has really grown on me. But also like in my old age, my patience for ballads is very minimal. And if there is nothing interesting happening in the production of that ballad, I'm checked out. I don't care. This applies across artists. I hold them all to this standard. No one is doing very interesting ballads right now. The most interesting person consistently is usually Adele. But
yeah. Well, they're all like calling back to like people who have done it before, like in a lot of like this one's very she said she got inspiration from Carole King, James Taylor, kind of that stuff. Where you lead I will follow, even like kind of that idea is in there. I love those songs. I maybe I'm just like in like the zone because I'm in love and like I love my girlfriend very much and stuff, and it's just like this sweetness and like this like like this idea of like holding wrap around my finger like a cast is such a beautiful idea, like this little thing like trying to hold something broken together, but it's also like the Die with a Smile idea of just she embraced like I think there's a theme of like fear of mortality, fear of like fading away, but also kind of wanting that at the same time. I think those are like the two splits that's going on. Um, where I think she embraces her mortality by loving, and then also understanding that it'd be okay if I died, if the world ended because I'd have love. I think it's such a simple, beautiful idea that doesn't need much accoutrement, doesn't need to like reinvent the wheel. It for me.
Yeah, for me, I think it's her fame mortality more than anything. I think, when people pursue fame, it's about being immortal. And I think now that she's found something that has much more meaning in her love for Michael, there's like now a mortality to her fame. I think she's very much okay with it. Like, and Blade of Grass for me, it really gives me this James Bond, like end of the movie kind of soundtrack sound
Ooh.
too, where it's like, Bond clearly saved the day, clearly fell in love, but clearly there's gonna be a next part where, hey, things aren't as perfect as it seemed. And I think with Blade of Grass, it gave that kind of resolution, non-resolution of imperfection. But then Die with a Smile is like, hey, we're waking up in the next movie, and all of a sudden you're seeing that your hero is still being heroic and in love. And so there's a happiness to it. Whereas most Bond movies, it's like, oh shit, the girl I love died in between like movies, and now I have to find 10 other girls to impregnate in order to find true love. But this, like, it gives us a much cleaner resolution because of Michael, and Bruno I think deserves a little bit of love here because Bruno
We should talk
is
about Bruno
vocally,
more. Like, forget that song.
yes. But yeah, because like I think
Should
Bruno is
we?
like,
I'm so
I think
sick
we
of
should.
Bruno.
Oh.
But
But
I think he's like Lady Gaga in a way. Like I think it's just like his vocals are so undeniable, and then we just kind of almost take it for granted how good he is, and then he does like just stuff that is a bit cornball at times, and you're like, all right, Bruno, like okay, we get it. Like, yeah.
yeah, there's a sort of stagnation with Bruno. Just because
Mhm.
Bruno is not doing characters or lore, that's fine. He doesn't have to. But I find the sound so samey and the ethos so samey. And I suppose Die with a Smile is relatively different
Mhm.
for him, but that song just doesn't work for me. But I also think like that the Folia de album like doesn't work for me at all.
Harlequin?
But yeah, there we go.
This is
I never
Dakota's
I never
favorite.
saw the movie.
Oh, don't get me started.
You
Don't get
love
me
it?
He
started.
likes
You
it.
love
Yeah.
it so
I
much?
did like it. I did
I
like it.
think I think I kind of would like it, but I need to be in the right zone for it.
Yeah.
Mm.
It has
We can't talk about this right now.
we talked about it in the Fame Monster episode, and I'll say it again. Decent movie. I didn't like the end. The ending's bad, but like the rest of it, I thought was kind of a vibe.
Mm.
Let's, but you
Yeah.
know, I
Uh,
agree. I agree with Blade of Grass. To me, is the worst song on here. Um, like yeah, I don't think it's that good. Maybe I'm too much of a bleeding heart lefty, but again, I can't imagine this venture capitalist proposing with a blade of grass. Like
it does
you
kind
have
of
all
make
this,
it less good. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, you have all this wealth, sir. Like use it for a ring. I don't care. It takes me out of it. Like I think it's stupid. Die with a Smile. Like I managed to not step foot in a Walgreens until this album came out. So I did not hear it until this album came out. And I think as a ballad, it's pretty good. I think that Gaga and Bruno work like surprisingly good. I think that the sentiment is sweet. So like to me, it is 10 times the closing track that Blade of Grass is.
Yeah,
But yeah, Blade of Grass, that is the bottom.
I wouldn't think
What
to
if
put
it's a
them
blade of
together.
grass? But what if it's a blade of grass on his own like private island or planet, let's say. Let's say like
Okay.
he used one of
You're
his
right.
rockets to fly over to the new Mars and cut a blade of grass and made a ring out of it. Wouldn't that be the most expensive blade of grass in human history? In which case it would be very romantic.
If
It's
it
good
is
now.
indeed a terraformed piece of grass, then sure. Then yeah, maybe it was worth it. I don't know.
Michael, I got your back. I will accept money transfers or tariff free products straight to my hometown of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Thank you very much.
I do want to apologize to Michael because I don't know what this man I don't know what this man looks like. I really don't know anything about him. I just know that he's a venture capitalist named Michael. That's all that I have to go off of. So I just assume he's a demon. And he probably is. Like
But-
honestly, retrospective to like what any individual can do to society and the planet. I'm sorry, he's got the cards stacked against him. If he was named like Donatello or something, that's a better Ninja Turtle. The Michelangelo.
Oh,
He's supposed to be the
wow.
party dude, and he's a venture capitalist.
Ah, that's so good. I agree with all of it.
You know that he works in
Donatello is the
cancer
best.
research?
Okay, so he's funding research for more cancer. He's trying to find a more effective strain.
He's trying to kill Gaga.
Yeah. Oh
She has to kill him
no.
first.
Oh,
No,
no.
he loves
Get
her
away
so
from him.
much.
There's not enough
loves her
research in that
so
migraine
much.
pill.
Her
Good
mom
job.
set them up.
Aw. I
Okay, well now you got me feeling bad.
well, I think like the the pro Michael take is he inspired this album. He co-wrote, helped produce some of these songs, and like kind of inspired this direction, but also like kind of like said, don't make it all post like neo grunge or whatever. Like I think those are good takes. Good, like, and that's like shows he has good taste, in cancer and also music. Like,
Do you guys know the like sort of gay theory about Michael? This is very
No.
like
oh
this is very
no.
like gay guy inside joke Twitter. There's a sort of theory that he's sort of like he's like a gay guy op who sort of like wooed her to get her to start making good music again. That like that he is sort of like sort of working for gay guys like on the inside getting good Gaga music to happen. I
Damn.
obviously this
Wow.
is not true, but I think it is I think when Disease came out and it was like co-written by Michael, everyone was like, this song is co-written, but like what's going on here? But I think it's very clear that they have a heterosexual relationship.
Yeah. But like me like it. But like I think like any stray observations, any like songs and moments we haven't talked about.
I do have a stray observation that sort of you guys have touched on a bit with like the mortality of it all, which is that like Lady Gaga, for a pop star, this was a huge fight in my home, but I lost. She is an older pop star. She's 37. She's not an ingenue. This is not an ingenue album. It's like Beyonce's a little older than her, but like Beyonce has a sort of different relationship to age, I think in part because she has her kids and the kids go on tour with her. Rihanna's a contemporary of Lady Gaga, but is like not really making music right now, except for the Smurfs movie, and also has her kids. So like Gaga is kind of alone in this thing of being like sort of engaged, maybe like kind of late in life. She's 37. She had all this like hip stuff, migraine stuff. Like I like that she sounds kind of raw and kind of not like run through, but like she's seen some shit and she's done some stuff. And I think you can hear that in her voice on the album. And I also think part of what made that SNL performance so incredible is like she is throwing herself into it. And like I am just a little bit younger than her. And so like I watched that and I'm like, oh my God, I would be in crazy pain. I would be dying. Like I can see how hard this is, and it makes me respect her so much more. And I think it's such an inherent part to this album is like fame mortality and regular mortality. And like I think it was like when she went on Las Culturistas, they were like, you could just be a legacy act at this point if you wanted to be. And she was like, well, I still have stuff I want to say. And I think that's also like great. But it's like the stuff she wants to say is very her now, not her trying to like recapture something that she was trying to say at 24.
Totally.
That's a really great point. Yeah.
I had the same thought of like watching her Coachella performance. Like I'm 33 and watching that I'm like, how are you doing this with all of your ailments, Like that it's crazy. I totally agree that like she in the best way she is showing her age on this album. Like the canned thing, like it's her most mature album yet, but like
Her most
actually-
authentic era ever also.
Yeah.
There's also like a kind of growth in terms of like a lot of her early stuff was a lot about like excess and like kind of like overdoing it, like with the costumes and like with like the stunts and everything. But like she's like, yeah, I'm a little more energy conscious now. I'm like, and I'm more so like utilizing old stuff and like kind of repurposing it into something new. And I think like, which is why it doesn't feel like, Fame Monster 2. It's just like kind of like echoes of it, but not like a derivative kind of like, okay, let's talk about this again. It's like it's kind of like I think it's the best way to age in as an artist.
Yeah,
So
it's like the Michael Jordan fadeaway jumper effect, right? It's like Michael, like at the beginning of his career, was just dunking everybody and making people look foolish and going right to left for no reason, just because he was in the air for so long. But then he kind of realized, like, I can shoot this fadeaway jumper and be more efficient, and then when I need to, still be athletic. And I think that's what Gaga's going into this era of, like, I can just belt these songs and create this great music. And when I need to, for Coachella or for this world tour, like, get this stuff out of me. But when I don't, like, I don't have to force, this like tremendous version of shock value excellence that she did so well at the beginning of her career. She could just save it for those important moments.
I'll just like rattle off some stray observations. The Beast is my low light. That's my one skip. I just like I don't know it enough. Like I'm just like it doesn't move me.
It's a
I
Phil
don't.
Collins song.
Yeah, maybe. I think like I wouldn't know. I guess like I'm really impressed by Shadow of a Man, like the way she Michael Limitato, like other Michael, like we're talking about like we're getting to five mics, but like we're not there yet. But like the Michael Limitato's like observation is like when Michael Jackson died, he split off into Bruno Mars, The Weeknd, and then we added like Usher. We threw him in there. But like I feel like I was like really shocked by like, oh shit, Lady Gaga too. Like the way it felt like a Lady Gaga AI filter over a Michael Jackson song. Like it, it sounded it makes sense the other way around, but like it felt like just like you took Michael Jackson vocals and just like put a little filter over it. It's like really weird, but also so cool that she's just doing it instead of like doing that corny shit, Yeah, let's go through Final Thousand Rings though. The way this works is we'll rate this out of 10 with a fun metric at the end. Who would like to go first?
This is a great album. It's Gaga's back. Little Monsters, Rejoice. I'm gonna give this album a 9. Fuck it. I'm gonna give it 10 e out of 10. That's from How Bad Do You Want Me? But it sounded like uh I
Dolphin
just can't
noises.
get
Just
enough.
like
So sorry about that. Sorry, Gaga, for ruining that song for you. But yeah, it's a perfect, for me, it's a perfect album for what I want it to be. It sounds great, it flows great, it doesn't require a lot of thinking. It just is a fun album to listen to throughout the summer. So thank you, Gaga, for coming back to music.
I'm I'm gonna give this 9 out of 10 poems said by Lady in Red.
nice. Nice.
This to me is also a great album. I think just because I skipped those last two at the end, but that's like that ratio for me with a pop album is like
That's pretty good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love getting ratioed also. Like it's so fun. But like I guess like I don't know why I said that. But like okay. Like I guess like yeah, I give it a 10 grass rings terraformed on a millionaire's planet. Out of 10.
Would you believe me that my thing was going to be terraformed blades of grass
Yeah.
if I said that?
I would because we're friends. Yeah, I think it's like this is just like perfect. I when I first listened to it, I was like, "How bad do you want me?" Cool, I like this. Like, but just like it really, really, really rewards like multiple listens. It really, really rewards like being part of your life. It couldn't have happened to a like this like success couldn't have happened to a better person, a better musician. Like I think this this is my favorite Gaga album. Like, I've listened to like for the show so far. It just really, really sits on my taste, like music taste buds so perfectly. Um, just like masterful execution, so fun. Uh, it's about Michael being a zombie in a dream. I think that's pretty cool. So I'm gonna give it, yeah, 10 out of 10. It's just a masterpiece. It's close to
Just to
album of the year.
clarify, Andrew, when you said better person, did you mean Gaga or did you mean Michael?
Or
Both.
Bruno.
Yeah. Yeah. What
Okay.
about you? What about you, Dakota? Where are you at?
Yeah, I think that this is the most this is the return to form that she has been really trying for since honestly art pop. I think that there's a couple things that I'd want like a little more of, but like honestly, it's just like such a fun time, and I'm glad that like there's not any that I don't have to worry about any pretense or anything. So I'm gonna give this 8 Nurtec bottles out of 10.
Hell yeah. Well, Fran, like, thank you so much for guesting on the show. This is like so fun. I had an absolute blast. Like, this is so fun.
This was great. Thank you so much for having me back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. First of all, anything you'd like to plug? Any articles you'd like your any of our audience members to read or anything like that?
I'm always just trying to have as much fun as they let me have at vulture.com. And I still keep up with Fran Magazine, which is getting sillier now that it's not my full-time job.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I liked your what's it called? Um, what's it called? The piece about like the listening to that like classical piece of music, like going to that live. I thought that was a great piece. Yeah, you check out her piece on Spit. Check out
Yeah, it's Spit Summer. We're all
yeah, yeah.
spitting.
Any oh, check out her appearances on Blake Check. I think those are great. Like the what's it called? The Nancy Myers movie, like that one. What's it called?
The
Like
holiday.
how the
The
holiday. Oh,
holiday.
it's so funny. That's one of my favorite episodes of that show. So
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, yeah. You can check out the show at IBMT LTT on all platforms. Check out our Patreon. I've been meaning to watch that where we cover movies, like primarily musical adaptations and occasionally concert films. We may cover one of Lady Gaga's things on there, so that you could look at that when we do that. Either Chromatical Tour or either like Stars Born or Joker 2. We might do that. Yeah, like you could follow Stenley at Snap a Sten, Dakota at down underscore with underscore fun, me at Andrew Ambrose Lee. And Fran, any final sentiments before we conclude? Oh my God.
The place of surprise with this album is when she does the crazy voice in How Bad Do You Want Me in that little bridge where she goes like, How bad do you want me for real? In the classic like Gaga monster voice. That's like the spark of the rug pull that I look for in everything. And that's when it happened that first time I listened.
Hell yeah, we brought it back. Abracadabra, unana. In her native tongue, that means the episode's over. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good day. Click.